Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our side series on a Technicality. What we're doing today, by viewer request, is showing you guys how to make a ground chain for your fight stick or arcade cabinet setup. I showed how to make the stick, but the ground chain was something that people asked a little bit more about. So what we're looking at right here is that stick I made in a previous video. I'll leave the link below, and you will see that all the different grounds are common, and they go through one ground chain in the entire stick. And that ground chain is going to allow all your buttons to work, and it's going to keep your wiring down to the bare minimum, which is going to be good for space. So what we're going to need to do is right here, we just have these 110 quick disconnects, and then we have the buttons and wire right here, and that's what's going to be needed. The quick disconnects just pop right on the end of the button. Sometimes they are hard to fit, but they do go on there. That way you can put them on and take them off as quickly as you'd like. And if you check on continuity here, how buttons work is continuity is only there when you depress the button. So if the button's not depressed, you're not going to have continuity across it from your 5 volt and your ground. But you will see here when we put that quick disconnect on, we put one end of the multimeter probe on the button itself and the other end on that quick disconnect, and we have continuity across that quick disconnect is what we need. Good rule of thumb to see how much wire you need is I take a little bit of string, it's red here so hopefully you can see it, and I'll just run that string across my entire button setup. That way I can get a better idea of how long of a run of wire I need, because wire is not expensive but it's not cheap and I really don't like wasting it. So I'll figure out how much I need with that string, and then I'll come over to my wire box and I'll pull all of that out when I'm working on something, so I know that I have exactly the amount of wire I need without any extra or without having to put these places that I don't need in there, because that's always going to be a weak point. But taking a look at this little happy guy here, we have the buttons, we have our ground wire, and we have a quick disconnect, so that's everything we're going to need to build that ground chain. We're only doing it on 2 buttons, but you're just going to slide your wire into the correct gauge. We're using 22 gauge right here, so you just push down. Sometimes with the wire short, you have to wrap it around your finger, but as you pull out, you're going to see that all that wire is exposed, and that's what we're going to need to use to be able to make that ground chain. So what's coming up next is you'll see this quick disconnect, and that wire just slides right into the cuff there. It's a little out of focus. What you want to make sure is the wire is not too far advanced. You want to bring it just to the point of the cuff. That's where you're going to crimp it. I'm taking a look at the wire crimpers here. For that quick disconnect, you're going to see that it is color coded, so that's the area you're going to want to use, and almost all crimpers are going to have those same color codings. Those are pretty standard. We just get that quick disconnect into the slot. You're going to see it's not going to fall out, and when the wire is in there, you're just going to crush down on it. You're basically making a cold solder joint, so when we open that up, you're going to see that there's that depression where it crimped down, and if the wire is where it needs to be, it will not come off. And not just checking continuity from the quick disconnect to that bare wire, we see we have continuity, so our cold solder joint is good. So when we hook it up to the button here, we can test continuity one more time to make sure that we're going all the way through that post on the button to the bare wire, and we know we're good to go, so we can go on to the next step in our chain. So what I'm going to do is just measure around where I want that wire to go, and you're going to be able to do this when you have your cabinet or your stick, and you just go ahead and cut the wire there, and you're going to have to basically take the bare wire off both of those ends, just peel the insulator off with your wire strippers. That way we have all the bare metal that we're going to need. And once you have that bare metal, the best way to keep it together and make it fit into that quick disconnect is to just give it a quick twist, and that way those wires are braided together. So when we go ahead and insert them into the quick disconnect and crush down, both of those wires are going to be both braided inside as well as crushed down on that cold solder joint. And then when we come in here and check continuity, you're going to see all the way through that ground chain we've built so far. Ground goes all the way from one end to the other. So when we just hook up the quick disconnect to both ends of the buttons, and the buttons don't have any sort of ground or 5 volt, you can hook them up to either end. So long as the ground goes to the right point, you're good to go. When we come in and check continuity, you're going to see the ground is all the way across that ground chain, and we are succeeded. Basically, this is only a 2-button setup. You're going to do a lot more, but I didn't want to waste the wire. But that's how you make a common ground chain for your arcade setup. Really hope this helps. If you could do us a huge favor, hit like and subscribe. Definitely takes us some time to make these videos. Otherwise, we'll see you on Tuesday for another episode of the Mainline series, and we'll be back on Friday with another video. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.